All right, gang, let's get started. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday morning and happy Thanksgiving. If we don't get to talk personally before the holiday, hope that you have a great time spending it with your family and friends and get to eat everything that is traditional for the celebration. So I want you to know how grateful I am for each and every one of you, and just how fortunate I feel in having the opportunity to work with you. Many of you I know personally, and just have an opportunity to impact not only your business, but your lives and helping you achieve what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So just know I'm very, very grateful for that. So that's what I want to talk to you about with this morning, or have a conversation about specifically. I think setting aside the time that we have, the fact that, we're alive, and the time that we have, however much time that we each have on this planet. I mean, I think that's the most important commodity that we have as we live on this planet, is the time that we have. But setting that aside, I believe that the single most important commodity that we have is self-confidence. And I want you to write that down, because it doesn't matter whether we're talking about, a mother or a father, or a doctor, an attorney, or a student, a child athlete, or a professional athlete, or a real estate agent for that matter. A sense of self-confidence, gang, is indisposable. It is absolutely necessary in order to achieve at the highest levels in any of those aspirations and doing any of those things. It's important for a mother to be confident in her ability to be a mother and to be a great mother. I mean, I remember as a father how nervous I was with my first child, and the lack of confidence that I had in the whole process, and rightfully so, because I'd never been one before. I mean, it's interesting. We don't really receive any training to be a parent, and yet we're thrusted into this very important role. And through experience, of course, we find our footing and find our confidence. And it's interesting how if you have kids, this, that with the second, third, and if you have more than that, I have three. It's interesting how your self-confidence increases in the process, and how you're also much less nervous about things, and you're much more relaxed. My oldest is very quick to remind me consistently that I never let her or her sister do the things that I allow my son to do. And it really doesn't have anything to do with them. It has everything to do with me as a father, and being a lot more confident, a lot more relaxed in the process. So, I mean, if you're a parent, you relate to that, right? So, look, gang, the single most important thing that we can find on a daily basis is our sense of self-confidence, so that as we go out and do the things that we want to do, that we do those things with a greater sense of intention, with greater intention. I just want you to think about that. Think about anything that you're trying to accomplish in your life right now, that if you bring to the table a greater sense of confidence, of self-confidence to that process, to that scenario or situation, you act with much greater intention. Because with great confidence becomes great intention. And with great intention, you get much better results. Part of that is that it allows you to, with this sense of confidence, to pile drive through, to force your way through all of the resistance. And here's the crazy thing about the universe. As you push forward, the resistance becomes greater. I don't know if you've ever done this. I grew up, of course, for those of you in California, you know this. I'm from Utah originally, and I grew up shoveling snow. And if you've ever shoveled snow before, you know that as you begin to shovel it, it's really easy in the beginning. But as you continue to push it, it becomes more and more difficult, because more snow accumulates behind the shovel. And you reach a point where it seems like there's absolute resistance, where you can't push anymore. And that is a great analogy to life, to any particular goal we're trying to accomplish. That as you push down the pathway, as you walk down that pathway, that journey to achieving the goal, the resistance increases. It's like going to the gym, gang. As you're pushing that weight, the resistance increases. From the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th to the 12th rep, it increases. That is just the law of the universe. It is a physical law. And what I know is this, through experience, that as you push and that resistance becomes greater, the opportunity for success becomes greater. See, as I'm pushing that snow down the pathway, down the sidewalk, and I feel that resistance, The resistance becomes greater and greater, but there's greater opportunity to shovel more snow, to push that snow aside as I continue, as opposed to pulling back. Life is the same way. So self-confidence is indisposable. And I think we probably all can agree on that. I mean, I think if we were in a room having a conversation, it would be unanimous that yes, you have to have self-confidence in order to achieve the difficult things in life, the highest goals, the highest price goals. I don't mean just financially, but yes, financially, but the highest price in all regards, that you have to have a high sense of self-confidence. So then the question isn't really, well, do you have to have self-confidence? The question is, how do you have it? How do you gain it? How do you maintain it? And that's what I want to share with you with the few minutes that we have remaining. So if you would, just write that down. Write down the word self-confidence, and then just below that, write down the question, how do I build and maintain self-confidence? How do I build and maintain self-confidence? Well, there are 4 things that I try to be mindful of in my life to build and maintain my self-confidence. Number 1 is clarity. Number 1 is clarity. Now, it'd be clarity about many things, right? And the primary thing that I try to be clear about, and the thing that I would recommend that you be clear about, is what do you want? What is your intention? What is your life about? I mean, broadly speaking, who are you and what do you want to accomplish on this planet? I mean, I think that's the single most important question. As we read the Napoleon Hill self-confidence formula, he talks about writing down your chief aim in life and reviewing that every single day until you've accomplished it. Well, that's really what he's talking about. So are you clear about what your purpose in life is? I mean, I know that that is a very grand question, and that's a big picture question, but it's a very important one. But then we can get more granular in terms of clarity, gang. Clarity of, well, what do you want to accomplish in your real estate business? How much money do you want to earn? How much money do you want to earn for the rest of the year? How much money do you want to earn in 2022? How many transactions do you want to close? Where do you want to find that business? What are your primary sources? Is it going to be your sphere of influence? Is it going to be FSBO's expired? Is it going to be just listed, just sold? Is it going to be renters, non-owner occupied? In other words, having clarity about what it is that you want and how you're going to do it. See, it doesn't matter what area of life we're talking about. When you have a greater sense of clarity, a sense of purpose of what you want and what it's going to take in order to achieve it, you're going to come to the table with a greater sense of self-confidence. Now, here's the thing, here's the catch. If you're wanting something that you've never accomplished before, yes, you're going to be nervous about it. That's very normal. I experienced that. It's not unusual that when you say you want something that you're going to be nervous about it because you've never been there before. But it doesn't mean you can't accomplish it. So the single most important thing you can do to maintain a sense of self-confidence and not let the nerves or the uncertainty take control is to be clear specifically about what you want and why it is so important to you. Why do you want it? So have a clarity of what you want and why do you want it? And I have to tell you, again, for me, in terms of the things that I've accomplished in life, I've had a lot of success and I've had a lot of failure. But I can tell you, my successes have come from the fact that I've been clear about what I want and what I have to, and why I want it. And then I figure out what I have to do. And here's what's really important about this. I can't stress this particular point enough. So many of us, so many of you want to know the how. Well, how am I going to do it? Yeah, I want to earn $250,000 or $500,000 or $1 million, but I've never done that before. I don't know how to do it. And so then therefore you start to lose your sense of self-confidence. You get nervous about the process. And I'm here to tell you, like one of my mentors said to me, is that the how is none of your business. It's none of your business. If you'll just simply show up every day doing the fundamental things that we all know that we should be doing, that the entire process will take care of itself over time. See, let me just paint a picture for you, an analogy. We're on a pathway and it's dark. There's a moon out and the moon provides some light, but it only allows us to see, say, 20 feet down the pathway. Well, you don't see past 20 feet. So you can't see the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, or 24th feet, foot down the pathway. You don't see any of that beyond that 20th foot mark. Well, the only way to see further down that pathway is to take one step forward. That's my point. Stop trying to figure out the how. Well, how am I going to do it? Well, just how am I going to close 50 transactions, or how am I going to close $500,000 in income, of transactions? Stop worrying about how you're going to do 50 and focus on doing one. One leads to two, two leads to three, three leads to four. So again, I just want to stress, under how to maintain a sense of self-confidence, principle number one, clarity, is be clear about what it is that you want, why do you want it, and then stop worrying about how you're going to do it beyond step number one. And you all know what you have to do with step number one. If there is any absolute uncertainty on your part about what you have to do with step number one, just reach out to me and I will share with you what you need to do. There should be no uncertainty is the first thing that you need to do in order to achieve any of your goals. For example, if it's losing weight, you and I both know that you know what the first step is. It's taking control of what you eat. That's step one. Step two would be exercise, right? If you have a goal of wanting to improve your relationships, well, step number one would be to just simply recognize that you got to take responsibility for what it is that you bring to the table in the relationship, right? All of this is intuitive. What we do is we try to complicate things. We make things more difficult than what they are. And we focus on the end goal and say, well, gosh, I don't know how to get there. And it seems so overwhelming. I've never done it before. Yeah, but stop focusing on that end and start focusing on step number one, so that then you can get to step number two. So then eventually you can get to step number at the end of the process, whatever it is. All right. The second thing that I want you to write down that helps in building and maintaining self-confidence is integrity. Integrity. Integrity with yourself and with others. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I would just suggest that you write down the word guilt under this principle of integrity. That what I find is that when we live in alignment with our principles, our philosophies, and our standards, in other words, when we have integrity, when we keep commitments to ourselves and to others, our sense of self-confidence goes up because we don't feel guilty. But when we don't adhere to our principles, philosophies, and standards, in other words, the commitments that we have to ourselves and to others, we feel guilty. And guilty is a confidence killer. Guilt will kill your confidence. So if you're not feeling confident, ask yourself this question: am I living a life that is consistent with my principles, my philosophies, and my standards? The things that I know to be true, that are immutable, that don't change, that are always there, that right is right and wrong is wrong. Am I living by my standards? And I think that we can all find room for improvement there's always going to be gaps, whether it's relationships or health or our business, and knowing what those principles and philosophy and standards are, that we know that we have to live by, that we have to embrace in order to have the things that you get by living that way, whether it's a quality relationship or good health or having a lot of money in the bank because you're productive in the business of real estate. But having integrity to yourself and to others, a key critical point to building and maintaining your sense of self-confidence. Then the third principle is this: write down the word contribution. Contribution. Gang, here's what I know about you, because it's true about me. We find a greater sense of self-confidence and a sense of purpose when we go out and we help other people. So under this principle, under this point of contribution, I want you to write down this phrase: I must get out of my own head. I must get out of my own head. I must get out of my own head and get into the heads of others. I have to get out of my own head and get into the heads of others. Well, John, what do you mean by that? Getting out of my own head and getting into the heads of others. What I mean by that is this: those who are self-focused, who are in this thing right here and get lost in it, have a tendency to fall into depression, to victimhood and a lack of self-confidence. Because the fact is, the vast majority of thoughts that we have are negative. The average person has over 60,000 thoughts, and the vast majority are negative. And when we get lost in our own brain, those negative outcomes occur. Because we're worried about our own challenges, and we go down this rat hole of how it's not possible, and how I can't, and I won't, and it isn't, and it never, right? And you all know what I'm talking about because we've all been there. But the moment that we stop worrying about ourselves and stop focusing on ourselves, on our own problems, our own challenges, like put our head up and look around and see people out there who need our assistance, our cooperation, our love, our help. And we begin to shift our focus from our own challenges to theirs. What happens, and you know this because you've experienced this, you begin to feel a shift in your sense of self-confidence. And the question is why? Because you find a purpose. You find a purpose that's greater than you, that's greater than your challenges that you have. So when you have the ability to shift your focus from yourself and to others, why not do that? Because it's a beautiful thing. It allows you, number one, to feel better about yourself because you stop focusing on yourself and now you're focused on others. And we always feel better when we focus on others. But it also is a beautiful thing for the other person because now they have somebody helping them with their challenges. Now, that's the great thing about real estate. We get to help people in one of the most significant challenges that they'll face in their life of making a transition into a new home, because financially it's the most important, significant thing that they'll ever do. And there's so much emotion involved in it, depending upon why it is that they're moving. Death, divorce, job transfer, right? Families expanding, contracting, all sorts of reasons, all sorts of emotions, all sorts of reasons to have a great leader who's focused on their needs and helping them get what it is that they want. So gang, if you want to find a greater sense of self-confidence, stop focusing on all of your challenges and start focusing on the challenges of others and offering your help to them. And what you will find when you do that your challenges will be minimized or eliminated simply because you shifted your focus from your challenges to others. Well, John, how does that happen? I mean, my challenges aren't just simply going to go away. Well, no, the truth is that most of them will, because most of them aren't that big of a deal. And here's what I know. The fact is that a lot of your challenges come from the fact that you're probably not making enough money, or that you don't have a sense of self-confidence, that you're suffering from guilt because you're not living up to the standards that you know that you should be. In other words, your principles, your philosophies, and your standards. You're not living into the person you know you are, and so therefore you don't feel confident, and therefore it debases your quality of life and your ability to go out and be that productive person who goes out there and kills it in real estate. There's a relationship. It is all intertwined, is interrelated. Okay. And then step number 4, because we are out of time, and thank you for being patient. The 4th one is this: it's gratitude. And I left that one for last because, of course, we are a day before Thanksgiving, giving thanks for the blessings that we have in our lives. Not just the God-given attributes, our characteristics, the things that make us amazing and beautiful as unique individuals, because you each have those things, right? But having the gratitude for the country that we live in, the opportunity to be in this business that we're in, our health, our family members, our friends, to be grateful. The cool thing about gratitude is this: it is the single most important antidote to fear. Gratitude and fear cannot coexist. If you're fearful, and gang, you know this, fear is a confidence killer. So if you want to be more confident, kill the fear. Well, how do you kill the fear? You find your gratitudes. So if you woke up today, gang, and you didn't feel very confident, the number one thing that I would suggest that you do, the number one thing, we talked about 4 principles this morning, but the number one thing that I would focus on would be the last one that we talked about, which is gratitude. If you'll start by focusing on your gratitudes, take an assessment, take an accounting. What are all of the things that I should and have to be grateful for? And if you'll take the time to have that conversation with yourself and write those things down, it is amazing how you'll find an immediate shift in the way that you feel. Because this is what happens. This is the way that it works. I'm not great at math, but this is one formula that I understand. Your thoughts, my thoughts, our thoughts lead to our emotions. So if you have a negative thought, it leads to a negative emotion. And that negative emotion leads to a negative action. And negative action leads to a negative outcome. That's undeniable. It's like a law of physics. So we go back to the beginning of that equation, that formula. If we have a thought, if we take that thought and we turn it into a positive thought, in other words, a gratitude, right? Instead of being a victim and focusing on all of my problems and challenges and what's not going right in my life, and I shift my focus 180 degrees to all of the things that are going right in my life and all the blessings that I have, that positive or those positive thoughts allow me to experience positive emotions. And those positive emotions allow me to take positive actions. And those positive actions allow me to enjoy positive results. So again, what I want for you is greater ability to maintain and control your sense of self-confidence. It is not by chance that there are people out there who are consistently confident, who go out there and are charismatic, have great energy, always seem to be happy, and that life is going well. It's not by accident. It's those people understand these principles, as I think we all do, but then they go one step further and they work every single day to maintain control of them, to be mindful of them. And there isn't any one of us who are on this Zoomcast today, this conversation this morning, who doesn't have the ability to do that. Again, gang, I'm so grateful for you. I'm glad that you joined me this morning. And I hope that you have a great, great holiday spent with your family and friends. I hope it's a safe one. And we'll see you on Friday. Okay, let's finish this up with some closing affirmations. All right, here we go. I succeed because I act on my goals. I'm an optimist. I like talking to new people. I know what is important to me. I remember people's names. I have a daily plan and I follow it. I am passionate about real estate. I know consistency is my greatest tool. I like asking questions and listening. I enjoy reading to improve my sales skills. My thoughts lead to my emotions, actions, and results. I focus on my dreams daily. My presentation is powerful and persuasive. I improve my skills daily. I am happy. I love to prospect because it feeds my business. I see my future and it is awesome. I love my life. I'm grateful and thankful. Let me say that one again. I am grateful and thankful. I control my thinking. I believe in me. I feel outstanding. I use my beliefs and optimism to succeed daily. I get things done. I provide excellent customer service. I drink water daily. I connect with people. People love me. I love others. I'm disciplined and accountable to my daily schedule. I prospect daily. I set appointments daily. I'm a master persuader. I achieve my goals. I'm a real estate rock star. I'm passionate about my life. I live every day with purpose. I am confident in my sales skills. I know my destiny. I am healthy and strong. I am powerful. I'm unstoppable. I keep positive, exciting, fun, productive thoughts in my mind at all times. Yes. All right, gang, go out there and have an amazing day. And of course, happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.